name is Alexandria Strotter, and I am going to be working with you today on behalf of Zany Designs. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background about myself since I did call you here to ask you about your company. So if I'm going to find out about you guys, I want you guys to know a little bit about me. So, like I've said, my name is Alexandria Strotter, and you may or may not know that Zany Designs is actually my company. I started it a couple years ago after I graduated from Full Sail University. I was able to get my bachelor's in web design and development. But my love for web design didn't exactly start right as soon as I went to college, of course. I did actually get involved with it a little bit earlier on, and it was surprisingly through the form of a video game. When I was younger, I used to get on the computer a lot and I would make little designs for the games I played. Actually, some of this is my more quote unquote recent stuff. When I first started, there wasn't really Photoshop and all we could use was paint. So we would get things looking a little bit more like just a simple black background. Here you go. Here's something that we didn't paint. Well, I didn't paint back when that's all we had. We really didn't have Photoshop to, do all the cool kind of effects. But once I got Photoshop, I started playing around and I learned a little bit more on how to use it. So this is the website that I started on, and this is actually a profile that I made. Now, like I said, my start, I didn't really know that I was web designing at the time. I was 10, 11 years old, 2007, but 13, 14 when I got onto this site, but there was another site before this that I would use. So, I was young, I was doing this for fun and using, through here is CSS that I had to use to make this profile. The other one that I used before it on Neopets was HTML. So, I was slowly building up my repertoire on, web design items. Going from there, I decided to open up my own online shop. And here, I would just have my clients give me exactly what they wanted. And I would make sure that, I got through and I made sure I was communicating with them, making sure that, look, this is what I have so far, checking to see if anything needed to be changed. And if it did, we would talk about it and I would just keep fixing it until finally we would get a finished product. And once they liked it, I sent it to them. They got to see what it is and they would pay me for my orders. I actually made a couple trillion on this website doing things like this. I have about over 100 customers on just this one, and I've opened up many different shops on this site. So that's kind of where I got my start, and I, was just a little young entrepreneur making online money. Didn't exactly know what I was doing, but I was having fun, and I liked it. So I didn't question it. My parents, of course, thought it was just me playing a game. Then I got into literally thinking about this as a career path. So I enrolled in Full Sail and I started learning and getting better skills. HTML5, of course, was out, and I learned how to, make paths and draw using the canvas. So I can actually do a little bit. Here's my little goldfish. I touched up on my CSS and HTML skills, able to make little small websites. This one was kind of pre-coded. They just had us fix some margins in here. So I just wanted to show you, though, some of the things that I could do. We had to make our own fake airline. And, from here, I had different pages for each of the, pages that we would have if you were booking a flight. It's taking a while to load, so I can just send you the link to that if you wanted to see it later. And here, like I said, video games is kind of, my start. And this is another video game I played at the time. It's a little website I made just, for an example. And it's not really anything big, but I was using my margins and touching up on my CSS. And, here we go. I make it smaller. And look at that. It still looks nice and pretty. Okay, let's get back. Then I got into making a portfolio for myself. Now, these are things that I made when I originally got it. It was all just text. And then, I added a picture in the background, added some CSS, text shadows, And this was just my basic, trying to get better at HTML and CSS. All of this was easily done with just HTML and CSS. I was getting pretty good. I've been doing it for a while, and what I wanted to do next was get into JavaScript. So this is where I mostly developed my JavaScript skills, making different components like this navigation bar. This footer was mostly HTML, but here I was using jQuery. I could also use jQuery here for some of the different effects that were done, using the video here. And this shows just kind of my style guide on how I made it. This, of course, could have been done with both jQuery and CSS, but it's just, I wanted to do something different. I knew I was doing the same things, basic things, and I wanted to kind of extend and see what else I can do and what else I could learn. So this is another one that I did. This was actually, I want to say that this was done with Angular, I believe. And, here's using a light box for a tattoo artist, and you can see the different work. I added a video. You click here, you can see the map had been enlarged. And if you actually click on the business card, it gives you a map to where the business is located. Now here I also used Angular, and I made a grocery list. So what I could do is just type in something like, it doesn't even matter, let's do watermelons. You save it and it adds to a list. You delete, it deletes from the list. And also you could make presentations through websites. And here I just made a presentation on a jQuery plugin called Tooltipster. Like I said, this was done using Angular. So I was able to use Tooltipster to showcase what it did, and Angular to make the actual presentation of it. So these are just some of the basic skills that I had gone through. I also have some more recent examples in my portfolio from recent customers. But I just wanted to give you a little background about myself before we got into your company. I did want to let you know that I will be working with you through every step of the process. I will make sure that we are communicating so that way you don't get something and not exactly know how we got there. I want to make sure that as I'm working forward towards the finished product, that you are completely satisfied with what's going on. Any changes that need to be made can be made right away. We can put that down. So that way I'm not giving you something and then having to consistently go back and change it and change it. As we are moving forward towards the final product, we will be able to have exactly what you wanted because we will be making sure to stay in constant communication. So let's go ahead and get started with the questionnaire.